In his movie, The Ten Commandments, Cecil B. DeMille portrays Israel's exodus from Egypt during the reign of Ramses the Great. This is in agreement with the community of historians who say the exodus occurred around 1250 BC during the reign of Ramses II of the 19th dynasty. However, this video will demonstrate that the exodus occurred about 200 years earlier than the accepted date of 1250 BC. This earlier date would occur during the reign of Amenhotep II of the 18th dynasty. This video will look at the biblical clues used to conclude that Ramses was the pharaoh of the Exodus. The clues will be put in their proper perspective so that the true date can be fully understood. The 18th dynasty pharaoh Amenhotep II is the true pharaoh of the Exodus, not Ramses II of the 19th dynasty. This story can be found in a book entitled The True Story of Man, the Egyptian Chronicle by Dennis Monroe. If we type D. Monroe Whit into the YouTube search box, we can find all the videos based on the book by Dennis Monroe. In the video, Egypt, When Did Dynasty 1 Begin?, we see a timeline from Adam, the first man, to the fall of Jerusalem in 586 BC. We're going to review that timeline here and establish a Roman calendar date for Israel's exodus out of Egypt. At a point of time in the 4.5 billion year history of this earth, the Creator put a man here and called him Adam. 20 generations of men born out of Adam brings us 2008 years of history to a man named Abraham. When Abraham was 99 years old, God made a covenant with him. Adding 99 to the 2008 years of history already passed gives us a total of 2,107 years of history. The Bible says that the Israelite descendants from Abraham would sojourn for 430 years. Sojourn means they lived in a place of temporary dwelling, not a permanent home. After the sojourn, God would give them a homeland. Adding 430 to the 2,107 years of history already passed gives us a total of 2,537 years of history. After the Exodus, the Bible gives a time of 480 years till God's temple was built, beginning in the 4th year of Solomon's reign. Adding 480 to the 2,537 years of history already passed gives us a total of 3,017 years of history. From the temple building to the fall of Jerusalem, the Bible doesn't give a set amount of time as in the previous examples. The Bible gives a compilation of time from the individual reigns of the kings of Israel and Judah. That compilation of time is difficult to calculate and has been a source of confusion for centuries. However, in the mid-20th century, a man named Edwin R. Thiel wrote a book called Chronology of the Hebrew Kings. This book untangles the confusion and gives a total of 381 years from the 4th year of Solomon, when temple building was begun, until the fall of Jerusalem by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BC. When you add 381 to the 3,017 years of history already passed, you get a total of 3,398 years of history. If you add 3398 to 586 BC, you see that Adam was put on this earth in 3984 BC. Now that we have a starting point, we can go back to the Exodus time, which was 2,537 years after Adam was put on the earth, subtract that from 3984 BC, and find the Roman calendar date of 1447 BC. This is the actual date when Moses led Israel out of Egypt. Since the Exodus occurred about 200 years before the accepted date during the reign of Ramses, we have to understand why the Bible would say the Israelites built the store cities of Pithom and Ramses. Archaeologists have never found the city of Pithom, but there is an interesting story behind the city of Ramses. We'll look at that now. Ramses II reigned from about 1290 to 1224 BC, and he built a city named the House of Ramses. But where is the city that Ramses built? In the 1930s AD, excavators digging at Tanis in the eastern delta found ruins with inscriptions bearing the name of Ramses II. The big problem with this find was the pottery fragments, which showed that the city was founded about 1100 BC, well after the death of Ramses II and after the exodus of Israel from Egypt. The Merneptah stela indicates that Israel was already settled in Canaan by 1220 BC. Making sense out of this dilemma came from a geological survey of the delta. It revealed a branch of the Nile that had dried up back in the 12th century BC. It appears that the capital city of Ramses was on this branch of the Nile, but when it silted up, it lost its harbor, so the city was moved to Tanis, where there was a harbor. In later digs in farmland 30 miles south of Tanis, ruins were found with inscriptions from Ramses II. German and Austrian excavators have found a 20 square mile area with palaces, temples, and houses. This excavated area is the remains of a vast city, first called Avaris, then the House of Ramses. To get more understanding about the capital city of Ramses, we need to look deeper into the city of Avaris. Looking at the book by Dennis Monroe, we find that the city of Avaris was the capital city of Egypt under the foreign Hyksos kings. It is also known that the Hyksos introduced the horse and chariot into Egypt, and since Joseph made ready his chariot to go meet Israel his father, it is certain that Joseph was in Egypt during the Hyksos reign. When Israel came to Egypt, the pharaoh offered him and his family the land of Goshen around Avaris. It was the best land Egypt had to offer. The Israelites settled in this land until they departed in the Exodus. The Hyksos pharaoh Amenhotep may be the pharaoh ruling at that time. He gave Joseph the new name Zaphnath-Paaneah, and he gave Joseph a wife named Asnath. The letters Nath can be found in the pharaoh's name Amenhotep, Joseph's new name Zaphnath-Paaneah, and his wife's name Asnath. When the native 18th dynasty pharaohs expelled the foreign Hyksos pharaohs, Thutmose I enslaved the Israelites, not wanting them to join with Egypt's enemy and fight against Egypt. It appears that Thutmose I used Israelite slave labor to begin building and expanding the city of Avaris and add the city Pithom. Later writers and copyists of the Bible would refer to the city of Avaris by its new name Ramses, after Ramses II made it his capital city. We do the same thing today with the city of New York. It was originally settled as the city of New Amsterdam. Its name was later changed to New York, and we use that name today, not New Amsterdam. In conclusion, Israelites settled in Egypt under the foreign Hyksos kings in 1686 BC. When the native Egyptians threw out the foreign Hyksos in 1576 BC, they enslaved the Israelites to keep them from joining the enemy and fighting against Egypt. During that slavery in the 18th dynasty, they built or added to the cities of Avaris and Pithom. Then Moses led Israel out of Egypt in 1447 BC. In 1290 BC, Ramses II of the 19th dynasty began ruling. He made Avaris his capital city and renamed it the House of Ramses. After Ramses' death, that branch of the Nile became heavily silted and dried up. Around 1100 BC, the whole city of Ramses was moved 30 miles north to the present-day site of Tanis. This helps us understand the true Exodus date of 1447 BC and not the date of 1250 BC under Ramses II. For further information on this subject, go to DennisMonroe.com. Thank you for watching.